What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Sportscenter show. I'm Loro Antonio. With me is Matt Bridgewater, and I know he's got his Justin Herbert jerseys. We're repping LA teams today because I'll be calling Lakers and Mavs today on Colorcast. Looking forward to that game. And then tomorrow is the big game, big matchup in the AFC West between the Chiefs and the Chargers, and it's going to be a dandy.
It is. Looking forward to that one. I'll be there in person.
Yeah, you were there in person last when the Chargers played the Giants and the Chargers won that game. But before we get into all that, we have some sad news to talk about, which happened over the weekend, was when former Denver Broncos wide receiver Demaryius Thomas passed away of a seizure at age 33 in his home in Georgia. He will always be remembered as a Denver Bronco. But speaking of which, the Denver Broncos won that game handily against your Detroit Lions.
Yeah, that was the only game last week that I predicted incorrectly. I called the Lions to keep the momentum up and go into Denver and win. But with the focus on that game was definitely on Demaryius Thomas, and he was with them there in spirit, and they ended up pulling together and getting a big win for DT. Very sad, very shocking. The seizure, I guess, in the shower or so, and he passed away, and that's just a terrible way to go. I remember Demaryius Thomas in those Super Bowl in that Super Bowl game against with Peyton Manning, and he's quite a talent and gone too soon.
Very gone too soon as well. Also, other breaking news to talk about: the Arizona Cardinals are shutting down DeAndre Hopkins for the rest of the regular season, but the Cardinals are hopeful that he can be back for the playoffs. How big of a blow is this for the Arizona Cardinals?
Huge. They've without DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray, they won 2 out of 3. I remember they went on the road and won up in San Francisco, and they lost at home to Carolina, I think, in one of those. And then they won another one. I think it was up in Seattle they won. And so they can do this, but that's a huge blow, especially because the NFC is so packed at the top with Arizona and the LA Rams and the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's and even the Cowboys could maybe get a run here at the end and make a push for that 1 seed. So, this is tough. Hopefully he comes back for the playoffs because the Cardinals are a good team, and you like to see good teams going to the playoffs at full strength.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You want to see teams that get on to full strength here, but also some COVID cases that are on the rise with the Rams and the Browns. So I think we're still going to have some football this weekend. All the games will be going on as scheduled, but it's unfortunate that the Rams and the Browns are both going through COVID cases right now.
Yeah, I also heard is that the Lions, the Vikings, and a couple other teams, maybe the Falcons or something. There's a few teams that are under like strict COVID protocols because they've been having outbreaks. And, this is something I think that the NFL has to figure out how to do. Is shutting down teams like this, is it the best way? Is there any proof that players have caught COVID playing the game? As long as they're asymptomatic and vaccinated, can they just play, right?
Yeah, last year there was a lot of cancellations in games because of this, but this year there was a lot of players that have been vaccinated from COVID-19, even though they tested positive. I still think that they still have to test negative twice for them to go to play.
Yeah, it's particularly rough too when there's like a situation of a false positive. Like I think that's what happened to Tyler Higbee of the Rams.
I think his test is pretty much false positive.
Yeah, I think it was too.
So basically, something will get done. But now, let's go on to the good stuff. So basically, some of our Week 14 biggest takeaways, aside from the Lions losing to the Broncos, talk about your Chargers winning big against the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, that was a big win. I thought maybe the Giants defense would step up. They did so the week before, I think it was, or 2 weeks before. They shut down the Eagles, which have a pretty good rushing game and dangerous offense there. And no, the Giants just they laid down pretty much from the get-go. And Herbert had that 59-yard bomb to close out the first half, which you can go to games for 10 years and you'll never see quite something like that. That was just a huge, huge play. His pass to Jalen Guyton. And they were shorthanded. They didn't have Keenan Allen. They didn't have Derwin James. And they still ended up coming through and getting a big win. And yeah, the Giants just looked terrible from the get-go. It was one of those games you don't see those games too often where one team just kind of just mauls the other team, and there's really nothing that they can do there. So it was good because they were allowed to rest some of their players, including Austin Eckler, who had looked like a rolled ankle of sorts. And they said he was good to go in the game if he wanted to, but they said, no, we're going to rest you for Thursday night. That's where we need you now. So, they got a big game Thursday night. So excited to be there.
Yes. And then also talk about the Rams with a huge win against the Arizona Cardinals. How confident are you in the Rams now that they could still find a way to win the NFC West with this win?
I'm kind of confident because they don't play the Cardinals any more times, but they split the season series. The Rams, they don't have that bad of a schedule. I mean, relatively speaking, the Rams, they host the Seahawks on Sunday. I mean, that's a game you got to win. You got to close the door on the Seahawks season there. Then they're at Minnesota, at Baltimore, and then home against 49ers. Like those should be games the Rams should be favored in. So if they don't lose, if they win though, if they run the table there, Arizona, they might have a slightly. Let's see what their schedule is here for the Cardinals to wrap it up. They're at the Lions, home against the Colts, at the Cowboys, home against the Seahawks. So, Lions, you got to get a win there, obviously. Home against the Seahawks, you got to get a win there. Home against the Colts and at the Cowboys, those will be very interesting. If they drop one or both of those games, that definitely leaves the door open for the Rams, perhaps. This is going to be close. It's going to be close.
The NFC West is going to be close, but you think that Seattle's season is pretty much done?
Yeah, at 5-8, it's done. I mean, I know they're technically still in it.
Or if they beat the Rams this weekend, which is not likely, then we could see a race.
Yeah, I still think they're done. I just don't see a 9-8 team like the Seahawks getting in. I don't see them going 9-8 for one, and I don't see a 9-8 team getting that final playoff spot even.
It's hard. The NFC West is too stacked. The Niners probably will be getting in.
Yeah, the Seahawks, once again, their schedule's not terrible. They're at the Rams, and then they get a couple of gimmies, home against the Bears, home against the Lions, and then they're at Arizona. So it could be interesting, but they're still well back. I mean, they're 5-8. They are 2 games behind the Niners. And do they play the Niners to wrap up the season? No, they don't. The Niners are home against the Falcons, at the Titans, home against the Texans, at the Rams. So, I don't see Seattle getting in now.
Yeah, I don't see me neither. So, anyways, talk about Tampa Bay beating the Bills. Talk about 1 week, the Bills lost to the Patriots. And then this week, and then this past Sunday, they lost to Brady. So the Bills are 7-6. Is there a reason to panic about the Bills now? Do you think the Bills are a team that is still going to make the playoffs?
So this is a tough one. I'm in the camp that I think the Bills are just they're too good. And I know they have the flaw with the running game. I know that the running game is just a big problem, and they need it. But I have a problem believing that they'll just not win or not get into the playoffs. Why can't I find their score or their schedule here? I know they go to New England.
Yeah, they have to go to New England, and I don't think they'll win that one.
Yeah, they host the Panthers.
Oh, actually, they should win that game.
Yeah, so the good thing about the Bills, actually, they do have a very easy schedule to wrap it up. They're home against the Panthers, at the Patriots, home against the Falcons, home against the Jets. That should be at least 3 wins. That'll get them to 10-7. If that's assuming they lose the Patriots, they wouldn't get the division, but a 10-7 team from the AFC is getting into the playoffs this year.
Would it be the Dolphins, though?
Let's see. Miami's.
Like, the Dolphins don't even play the Bills anymore this season. They have to still face the Jets and the Patriots.
Yeah, well, yeah, the Dolphins are a little bit tougher, yeah, because they end the season at Tennessee and home against the Patriots, and they're already 6-7. So, like, for them to get to 10-7, they'd have to run the table. So, I mean, winning home against the Jets.
The Dolphins have been playing good football lately. I think they're going to beat the Jets, but maybe I could see them upsetting Tennessee, though.
Yeah, well, then their next 3 games, they have Monday night at New Orleans on the 27th. Then they play at Tennessee and home against the Patriots. It's a tough ending to their schedule. I don't see the Dolphins getting in.
I think they can. I mean, the Saints are probably not going to get in anyways. I think they'll beat the Saints. And then Tennessee, I could see them beating because, Brian Flores is going to want his guys to play hard down the stretch, So we'll talk about which bubble teams are most likely going to get in out of the teams that are still alive for the playoffs. So for the Bucs.
They could, but then they have to end at the Patriots, and
they're home with New England.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll beat New England, and if they can run the table and go to 10-7, I think they're in. Yeah.
Yes, a 10-7 team will be in. I think we'll see 2 of them. So, anyways, now we'll go talk.
Yeah, it's tough too because there's so many. The AFC is so mashed
wide
together.
Open.
It's just there's not much that separates New England and Kansas City from Miami, really, or even the Raiders, perhaps.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely going to be a really good race at the come week 18, and then we'll also talk about on our NFL segment about which coaches are going to be. We're going to see a lot of firings on Black Monday the day after the regular season concludes. So, anyways, now we'll talk about for the Bucs. I mean, Tampa Bay. I think with Arizona losing, I could see Tampa Bay getting that 1 seed with their huge win over Buffalo.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. Yeah, I think
Brady throwing career touchdown pass number 700 though.
Yeah, I think you have Tampa Bay there. Yeah, and Tampa Bay has an easy finish to the schedule, if I remember correctly. They are, home against the Saints, at the Panthers, at the Jets, home against the Panthers. Yeah, they'll run the table, I think. I think they'll be 14-3. And at that point, it just is about, I think, the Packers, if they trip up. Because I think the Packers have the tiebreaker against the Buccaneers if that were to happen. But the Packers, they can run the table too. They're at Baltimore, home against the Browns, home against the Vikings, at Detroit. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be who can run the table to end the season.
We'll see. It should be an interesting race here, that's for sure. So, anyways, now on to Week 15. Let's start with your game as the LA Chargers take on the Kansas City Chiefs tomorrow. I know who you're going for because you got the jersey on, but I'm going to go first with my pick. I'm going to pick the Chargers in a narrow victory over over the Chiefs because I think it's going to be a high-scoring game for both sides. I think we're going to see a 30-plus scoring mirage here. That's what I think. I think the Chiefs defense has played better, but I just think that the Chargers offense is going to be flying over the Chiefs defense here. So give me the Chargers 38-35.
Yeah, this is a tough one, actually. And I have to say it, I think the Chiefs might get them. And I think it's because, it really depends on, I think, Rashawn Slater. If he's out because he is under COVID protocol right now, that's the left tackle. He's been so great. He's a top 5 left tackle in the league. If they have a backup in there, the Chiefs are just going to be bringing a ton of pressure on Herbert. And Andy Reid's a very experienced coach. And I think the game has a chance to look a lot like the home game against the Patriots or the Vikings, where they were able to exploit some matchups and give the offense enough fits that they could beat them. If Rashawn Slater was healthy, I would say a narrow Chargers victory, but I'm going to assume he's out. And because of that, I'm actually going to go with the Chiefs in a narrow victory.
Should be a really good game. I mean, I think Brandon Staley's done a really good job with the LA Chargers. An even better job than Anthony Lynn.
Oh yeah, Staley's a first-year coach, and he has a team at 8-5 with maybe a division title in reach. He's done the whole team's done really well.
Yeah, they're knowing how to close out games in close game situations, something that was missing for the Chargers.
Yeah.
And Anthony Lynn, he switched teams from your Chargers to the Lions.
Yep.
And you might still keep him as your offensive coordinator.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of that, but we'll see.
You think he's more a good person to run an offense that knows how to build ground games?
Yeah, I think, part of the problem is golf, and they don't have any big playmakers, but I think Lynn has not maximized the offense either. But then again, any team that's won 11-1, it's there's a lot of problems on both sides of the ball. So yeah, the Chargers Chiefs, the over under is 52 points. It's supposed to be the highest scoring game this week, is what the odds makers are saying. So if that's true, you might be right, Loro. They might, if it gets into a shootout, Chargers definitely have a shot to win.
Absolutely. Now on to the Saturday special. So the Raiders and Browns. So basically for the Raiders, it's basically they have to win out, set the table for them to keep alive in the playoffs. Will they do that? I would hope they do. I mean, the Browns are going to be without Baker Mayfield because of COVID protocols. You're going to expect Case Keenum to start. I'm going with Derek Carr and the Raiders to get this win because they got shellacked in Kansas City.
Yeah, since Baker Mayfield and Kevin Stefanski are out with COVID, the Browns went from, I think, 2.5 or 3-point favorites to now 1.5-point underdogs. So I'm still going with the Browns, though. I think that Case Keenum can win just like Baker can. And the Raiders, they look so terrible against the Chiefs. This team looks like it's in a free fall, and I think the Browns are going to still get a victory here. I'm going with the Browns.
And you said the Raiders are a poorly run organization. Why?
Yeah, they've always kind of have been. They've, Gruden, I thought, was by far the best guy in that organization in terms of running them. And I know he got fired for some emails that he wrote 10 years ago. But, I just think that they're a team that has not much direction, that they tend to make the wrong signings or draft picks at times. There's no discipline. I know that kind of comes with the Raiders brand, but there's a way to not be disciplined or be a player's coach and be pro expression and pro, go out and have some fun, but still tighten it up so you can put together a good team. Here they are, 6-7. It's just it's tough. Yeah, but I'm going with the Browns.
And then the Patriots and Colts. So will the Patriots continue their win streak, or do the Colts get a win here? I'm going with New England to continue the win streak. I mean, this team is on a mission to go to the Super Bowl and get and go back to the bowl because Bill Belichick is on a mission this year.
Is this your upset special?
No, it's my lock of the week because
wow.
the Patriots are they have a better record over the Colts, But the Colts, however, they're playing the underdog role because they're still pretty much in play for the AFC South title.
Yeah, and this is tough. Like the Patriots are coming off a bye week, but so are the Colts, right?
Yeah, both teams are going to be playing all-out football.
Yeah, so this is a tough one. I'm going to give the edge to the Colts. I'm going with Frank Reich and Carson Wentz here. I think that Frank Reich gets a big win here and puts some pressure on the Titans going into Sunday. So I'm going to go with the Patriots. They're 6-0 on the road. They have to lose on the road at some point, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, might as well get it. If they lose Week 15, I think they're going to be. I think this loss could fuel them for the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think the Colts too, like they're in a pretty desperate situation here. If they lose, they'll be not really viable, I don't think, for the division title, but because they've lost twice to the Titans this season. So
yeah, they want to continue to put the pressure on Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now that Tennessee's without Derrick Henry and without they got Julio Jones back and A.J. Brown, that's a good sign.
Yeah, and if this becomes a bit of a shootout, I think the edge goes to the Colts. The question, I think the Patriots need to, if they can hold down the Colts offense, I think they get the win. But I'm going to go with the Colts here.
I expect Mac Jones to play really well that game. But if we win, great. If not, then it's okay. I feel like that we would save our eggs and energy for Buffalo the next weekend after Christmas and get our focus there. But I still want this team to play hard next Saturday. I think we will play hard, but I think it's going to be a really close, competitive football game. But don't be shocked if the Colts win this division, win the AFC South.
Okay.
Because they have a chance, and you can't sleep on them. You don't want to underestimate them.
That's right.
And then talk about the Sunday slate. Talk about the Cowboys and the Giants. Like, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys nearly blew it against the Washington football team. They have to play them again next week. And then for the Giants, it's not really all on Joe Judge. I'm hearing that Dave Gettleman's going to be retiring, so the Giants are definitely desperate for a new direction. So I think the Giants all but said, time to go to Cancun. Cowboys get this win.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cowboys as well.
So with the Giants here, you said to me off air, you think there's a chance that Daniel Jones is gone and that they trade for Russell Wilson. I think the Giants would be a really good fit for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, to be honest, I think they should probably start over from Joe Judge as well. But I think the report is that they just want him to overhaul his entire offensive staff and Gettleman will be gone. But then you get a weird situation where you bring in a GM that's the boss of the current coach, and he's going to want to hire his own guy, I think. And it's just kind of a weird situation. So I don't like that either. But I think Joe Judge, I think he would be better off leaving too for his own sake. Because I don't think what is Daniel Jones like? I mean, maybe if in the offseason, if they decide to move off Daniel Jones and bring in someone like Russell Wilson, okay, that would change things. Then the Giants have a plan. They're saying, Joe Judge will be our coach. Russell Wilson's going to be our quarterback. We're going to overhaul the offensive staff for Wilson. Then I would say, okay, keep him. But if they don't have a plan like that, like, what are you doing? You're spinning the wheels.
Yeah, the Giants are pretty much – I don't think anybody wants to see them in primetime games anymore. I think the Giants are probably going to be sticking with Daniel Jones or something like that, so we'll have to wait and see. So the Titans and Steelers are going head-to-head here. I think if you get A.J. Brown back, I would like the Tennessee to win, so I'm actually going with the Tennessee Titans to get this victory.
All right, yeah. I'm going with Tennessee as well. I think that both these are very well-coached teams. It's going to be a close one, but I think the Titans eke out a victory.
Oh, yeah, absolutely they will. But now let's talk about a game that is a team with 2 losing records. And I think who the better quarterback in this game is Trevor Lawrence over Davis Mills. Tyrod Taylor now out for the rest of the season. Talk about early this season when the Texans blew out the Jaguars in their home opener. But the Jags are at home. They're playing Houston. Both teams are 2-10. Who needs this win the most?
I think Urban Meyer does. I think he needs to show something to ownership and to his players. I mean, they've just looked like a dumpster fire Lawrence he's regressed, and Urban's an offensive guy, and there's serious questions about the viability of his coaching regime in the NFL. A lot of stuff is getting leaked to the press, and so that's not a good sign. So I think the Jags need a win here more than the Texans. The Texans have committed to David Culley and are behind him, but Urban is in a bit of trouble, so he needs a win. I'll go with the Jags. I think he'll get the win. But yeah, this is a tough season for them.
It has been a tough season for the Jags, so I'm going to give this win to Jacksonville. I think, and you think Trevor Lawrence has been – I don't think he's a bust. I just think that there's just bad coaches on the offense that's kind of messing up the Jaguars. Like I heard that they have ran a dinosaur offense. Not an offense that is accustomed to NFL fans. It's more like a dinosaur offense. It's not like play action. I think that the Jaguars need to find a way to find the right offensive coaches for Trevor Lawrence. Like Brian Schottenheimer and Darrell Bevell, those guys should have not been hired. I think you need to change up the offensive staff for the Jags. Do you think Urban Meyer is going to be safe after this season?
No, I think Urban could be fired.
Yeah, I think you need to get you want to get an offensive minded head coach that knows quarterbacks, and I think Byron Leftwich would be a good fit for the Jags. Wouldn't you think so?
Yeah, I think that they would. Byron Leftwich would be fine. So I think they could even do who's the Buffalo offensive coordinator?
Brian Dable.
Yeah, they could bring in Brian Dable.
But I don't think that'll happen though.
No, yeah, it's it's a mess. They're in a mess of a situation there.
They were supposed to be really good this year.
Yeah, they're supposed to be better than 2-11.
Yeah, but Urban Meyer's coaching in the NFL questions me now.
Yeah, he looks like a bad NFL coach.
He's better off in college.
Yeah.
He needs to go back to college if he's fired. He needs to find a head coaching job in the college ranks again.
Yeah.
Or maybe he should go back to Florida, go to the Gators.
Maybe, yeah. They just hired Napier.
Yeah, Billy Napier, that's for sure. But now, talk about the Jets and Dolphins going head-to-head. I think when it comes to the Jets, this has been a really tough season. Don't fault Robert Saleh for this. I mean, the defense of the Jets has been bad. I mean, Robert Saleh is a really good motivator. I don't think he's going to get fired at the end of the season. I think that the Jets need to give Saleh time to build this program and to help develop Zach Wilson. I don't think it's Zach Wilson's fault for this. I think it's more of the front office that's been so bad for the Jets. So I think the Jets are going to lose this game. I think Tua and the Dolphins get a huge win.
Yeah, would that be like their 5th win in a row or something like that?
Yeah, they've been playing good football lately, and Tua to me has shown to me that he's already showing to everybody that he is the Dolphins franchise quarterback.
I think he's shown he's accurate. I don't think he has that good of an arm, and I think I think he's getting better, but it's if you're Brian Flores, you gotta make a decision this offseason, because if Tua does not get it done next year and get you into the playoffs, at least like you're fired. So he'll have to make it. And this is a good stretch here. The Dolphins, they could go on a bit of a run. Let's see, they're hosting the Jets, and then they're at the Saints, at the Titans, home against the Patriots. So, well, maybe it's a little bit of a tough ending to the schedule. So, but that's good for Tua. We'll see. Like at the Saints, at the Titans, home against the Patriots. If he gets swept in those 3 games, I don't know. I think they're moving off him.
They shouldn't move off from Brian Flores. I just think that the Dolphins, I think they're going to make the playoffs this year. I really think so, because there's a lot of teams like the Browns are slipping off. I think Miami's playing good football at the right time. So I could see them winning out and then heading into that Week 18 game with sudden death on the line.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't see Brian Flores or Tua leaving the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins have a future with Tua. I still think so. I just think that this year was the year of the injury for Tua. I really think that Tua just needs to use this upcoming offseason to get healthy and be ready to go be fully healthy for next year.
That's great. They've actually won 5 in a row. They were 1-7. That's right, to start the season. I don't see a 1-7 team making the playoffs. Like, I don't care. Like, they're too big in a hole right now. So, and those last 3 games are tough. At New Orleans, at Tennessee, home against New England.
New Orleans should be easy because, the Saints have Taysom Hill. I think Tua is better than Taysom Hill.
Yeah, it's tough to win in New Orleans, though.
It is. You know how bad they are. We'll see. So now, Talk about the Washington football team taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, man, Washington nearly came back, but they're playing really good football at the right time. I mean, this could history repeat itself with this Washington football team. But I'm actually picking the Philadelphia Eagles to win this game because better quarterback, Jalen Hurts. I think he's showing to me that he's the future of the Eagles. And I really think that the Eagles, everybody thought that Sirianni was going to be one and done in Philly. But, hey, the Eagles are playing good football, and they're playing hard for Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, game with playoff implications. That 7th spot in the NFC is up for grabs. I'm going with the Eagles too here. I think they're I did not like Washington's performance last week, so I'm going to go with the Eagles here.
Me too. Jalen Hurts should be back by then.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the Cardinals and the Lions. So basically, all you could say is, you want to throw away your season and just keep losing for that number 1 pick?
No, I want them to win. But I'm gonna pick the Cardinals in this game. I think the Cardinals bounce back as they have to. If they were to lose this game, I would say they're not just done in terms of the division. I don't think they would win the division at that point, but there'd be a one and done in the playoff. I think we'll find out a lot about the Cardinals here over the next couple of weeks, but I think they get the win against the Lions.
Oh, yeah. I think they will get the win against the Lions, that's for sure. But is there another game you see the Lions getting a win after that win against Minnesota?
Let's see. It could happen at Atlanta. It could even happen at Seattle. They can win any of these games, even home against the Packers. Granted, the Packers are probably going to be still fighting for the 1 seed, so they're not going to lay down in that game. But it's possible if they have the 1 seed locked up,
then you can see
just beat up on their backups, right? So, I mean, it's possible.
You could see that, but the Falcons, you don't want to underestimate Matt Ryan. I could see the Lions winning that game, but I don't see them beating Russell Wilson, though.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm kind of thinking here. So the Panthers, however, are taking on the Bills. So I would have to say Buffalo's going to get this one. They're going to get their 3-game losing streak snapped.
Yeah, I think Buffalo gets this one too.
100% agreed. Now talk about the Bengals and the Broncos. So you're not going to see that same type of performance that the Broncos had against the Lions. I'm going with the Bengals to win this game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to you know what? I'm going to go with the Broncos here.
What?
Yeah, I think it's Vic Fangio. He's a good defensive coach. Burrow's only a second-year quarterback, and really he missed most of his first season. I think Vic Fangio is going to have a game plan for him, and I think he's going to get a win.
The Broncos are doing whatever they can to save Vic Fangio in Denver.
Yeah, and you know, the Bengals have been a great story this year. They've done really well, but you know, they are inconsistent, and the Broncos have a good D. So I think, and they're a young team too, and I think a good experienced coach like Vic Fangio with a good D at home at Mile High Stadium, I think the Broncos get the win.
We'll see. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater has done a really good job keeping the Broncos in this pace. And I always said to you, Matt, this was his chance to show that he can be a franchise quarterback for the Denver Broncos. And from what I've seen, he has shown that opportunity.
Yep, he has.
And I really think that don't be shocked if he's their starter next season, which I want to see. Because obviously I felt bad for him, and I didn't like how Minnesota handled him. I just feel like that Teddy Bridgewater is a franchise quarterback in some sort.
Yeah.
And I think Denver is the best place for him. And I just don't see Denver getting rid of him.
I think they'll want to upgrade. I think they'll want to move off him and get someone dynamic. Maybe Russell Wilson, or maybe they'll
You mean John Elway's going to want to upgrade in the draft or something like that? Look at the college quarterbacks? Because this class coming up is not good.
No, yeah, he could do that, but I think they want a more experienced quarterback. So I think they would trade for somebody.
They could do that, but we'll see. But Talk about Matt Ryan and the Falcons taking on the 49ers. So I'm actually going to go to the Falcons in this game because, I like Matt Ryan. I think that the Falcons are still finding ways to keep to play hard down the stretch, but I don't think that it's gonna be enough for the Falcons to make it to the playoffs. I like Arthur Smith and the job he's doing in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm going with Niners in this one, though. I think Arthur Smith's been doing good for Atlanta. I think the Niners at home, I think they're going to get a big win here against the Falcons.
Oh, it's going to be I think they will. I think the Niners getting a win against Matt Ryan will definitely help save and salvage their season.
Yeah.
And then talk about the Seahawks and the LA Rams. I mean, Russell Wilson, you can't underestimate him. I just think that the Rams defense has the Seahawks number, so I have to say the Rams are going to get a win. I think it's going to be a narrow victory.
Yeah, I think Rams get the win here too I'd say by about a touchdown.
And then the Packers and the Ravens. Will we see Lamar Jackson play against Aaron Rodgers, though?
Yes, but he's going to be like at 80% or something. I'm going with the Packers in this game.
I'm going with Green Bay, too. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to outplay Lamar Jackson with his arm.
Yeah.
But I think the Ravens will keep up in this game, but I just think Green Bay is the better team right now that is on a mission.
Yep.
Then Sunday Night Football, you got the Saints and the Buccaneers. Taysom Hill versus Tom Brady. So I'm going with Tampa Bay. I think they're going to get revenge on the Saints.
Yep, I'm going with the Buccaneers too. I think they have not beat New Orleans in the regular season since Tom Brady has arrived in Tampa Bay, but I think they're going to go out there and get a big win.
They will, absolutely. And then Monday Night Football. Who are you loving? Are you going to go for Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears, or are you going to go with the Minnesota Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings? I am going to actually pick Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. I think that if you want to make the playoffs, if you want to save Mike Zimmer from Minnesota, then the time is now to beat the Bears.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the Vikings will go into Chicago and get a win.
And also, speaking of which, if the Vikings make the playoffs, is Mike Zimmer all but safe in Minnesota?
Yeah, if they make the playoffs, I think so. They'll bring it back.
But what if they don't make the playoffs? Say the Vikings don't make it.
He's fired.
And why do you think he is on the hot seat? Like, why do you think his seat will get warmer and warmer as the weeks go on?
Yeah. I think, I just think that he's not shown enough and he can't win division titles or make the playoffs consistently. So I think they'd go in a different direction. And he's a bit conservative too.
He's supposed to be a really aggressive, defensive-minded head coach. I mean, his defenses when he was in Cincinnati were more aggressive and all that.
Uh-huh.
So you think that he's out of Zach Taylor versus Mike Zimmer? Who gets fired?
I think Zimmer.
What about Matt Nagy versus Robert Saleh? Who gets fired? If you have to choose one. I think Nagy gets fired most likely.
I think I'm going to go with Robert Saleh here. I think that the Bears have been kind of closing ranks around Matt Nagy for the ownership at least. So we'll see.
Yeah, Matt Nagy's a good person. I mean, I know he's a good person, but I just think he's just a bad head coach that doesn't know how to call offensive plays. And his offenses are atrocious to watch.
Uh-huh.
So, and with Robert Saleh, why would you even think about having him be one and done with the Jets? He shouldn't.
Yeah, I just think there had been some sniping, I think, between him and Zach Wilson in the media, which isn't good. Your first-year quarterback and your new head coach not liking each other, and his defenses are just getting trucked every week. And he's supposed to be a defensive guy, so that's a problem.
I think you got to give him another chance if I were the Jets. I just don't think you need to fire a head coach and go one and done.
All right.
So that's kind of my thinking here. So basically, when it comes to the hot seat ranks for head coaches, which hot seat to you is more warmer out of the coaches that you mentioned? Like, I think David Culley is safe in Houston, but he's a puppet in Houston.
Yeah, I think that David Culley's safe. I think they've actually come out and said that he's safe.
Yeah, the Texans like David Culley to kind of help with this rebuild.
Uh-huh.
Because he's a good offensive-minded coach. He's worked under John Harbaugh and Andy Reid. I do think he's the right person for Houston, though.
Uh-huh.
But but you have to look at it that Cal McNair is the worst owner in the NFL, and I just think that every time that you hear his name, a lot of people don't like Cal McNair.
Yeah.
So that's why I think David Culley is safe, Dan Campbell's safe, Sirianni is safe. I think Saleh, to me, is safe. You got to give him one more shot at it. Urban Meyer's probably not the safest out of the ones I mentioned.
Yeah, he's going to get fired, I think.
I think Shad Khan, Trent Baalke are going to show him the door.
Yep.
So, anyways, talk about some basketball now. The Lakers are taking on the Dallas Mavericks tonight. So, Lakers have a mini road trip coming up. And what do you think about the Lakers' chances about winning this basketball game? And what do you need to see from them to try to start going on win streaks? Because I think they're a team that's supposed to be in the cream of the crop in the West with Golden State and the Suns and the Clippers, of course.
Yeah, you're talking about the Lakers, right?
Yeah, tonight on ESPN.
Yeah, they're not clicking. It's not a surprise to me. They're just a very old team, and I don't know what they were really expecting. I heard Westbrook, they might want to move him.
They shouldn't move him for Ben Simmons. I wouldn't do it. I mean, Russell Westbrook fits what the Lakers need. You need a shooter at point guard. You need a playmaker that can pass the ball, and you need a guy that is going to get triple doubles each and every night. And having that third star puts the pressure off of LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
Yeah, okay.
That's why you shouldn't trade Russell Westbrook for Ben Simmons, because Ben Simmons is a cancer.
We'll see what they do.
Also, last night, Steph Curry is now the all-time leader in three-point shots. What was your takeaway from what you saw from that game when the Warriors played the Knicks?
The Warrior, like Steph Curry is the greatest shooter ever in basketball. I mean, he's just great, and I think that I was happy for him, and he's a great player overall. Just really has helped transform the game. What do you think?
It's no surprise. He's right now the best shooter in our game right now. Already past Ray Allen, already past Reggie Miller. I think James Harden's going to get up there,
Uh-huh.
and get to that mark here. So that's what I think here. But with the Lakers, with this road trip, I think what they have to do is they have to play better defense. I mean, it's not been easy for the Lakers to begin the season. There were games that they should have beaten, but it's not going to get any easier for the Lakers in the coming months. They have a hard schedule for the remainder of the season, and they need to step it up right now because the Lakers are 6th in the West and the Mavs are 7th in the West. That kind of tells me something, and it kind of tells you something too.
Yeah.
Can the Lakers still climb up in the standings and get to 3 with Golden State and Phoenix, or that's impossible?
No, I don't think they are going to. I think they'll be like a 4 or 5 seed, perhaps, when it's all done.
They want to avoid the play-in tournament. I think they do, but do you think that when they're healthy come playoff time, you think they'll make a run for the finals?
It just seems so much like it's going to be Warriors Suns. So I think it'll be Warriors Suns.
Yeah, if you talk about the East, if you look at the Eastern Conference right now, how excited are you about the Christmas Day games next Saturday? Like, which one are you excited about the most? We're going to make our picks for that next week. Which one are you most excited about? Lakers, Nets, or Knicks and Hawks?
Oh, both those seem like they'd be pretty good games.
Which one are you most looking forward to for Christmas Day next Saturday? Lakers, Nets, Suns, Warriors, or Hawks and the Knicks?
Yeah. Warriors at Suns. Yeah, that's the one I'm most excited about. Nets at Lakers. Okay, that could be fun. And then let's see. Hawks, Knicks, no. Celtics, Bucks, no. Yeah, kind of just Warriors, the West Coast games. Warriors, Suns, Nets, Lakers, and Mavericks, Jazz.
Yes, and also let's talk about some news to talk about surrounding your Detroit Pistons. You were supposed to play a game with the Chicago Bulls, but the Bulls had a lot of players on COVID protocol. So the Pistons don't even get to play again until they don't play again until Thursday against the Indiana Pacers. So, I mean, what do you expect from the Pistons in their next game?
It's a rough season for them, but they're a young team, and they just got to go through it, and they'll get better by the time next year comes around.
Is Cade Cunningham showing improvement each and every game from what you've seen from him?
Yeah. Yeah, Cade Cunningham's been doing pretty good.
Who do you think you're going to trade at the trade deadline if you're the Pistons? Do you want to trade Jeremy Grant, Miles Plumlee?
Yeah, probably both of them could be good trade pieces that could go to different teams. Yeah, so I'd be up for both of those. Yeah.
Yeah, so the Lakers in this road trip, you got the Mavs. Is that going to be easy for the Lakers, or do you think that's going to be hard?
I think that Lakers, Mavs, that'll be a tough one, but the Lakers can win it.
What about when they go to Minnesota to play the T-Wolves?
I
mean, that's a team the Lakers should beat, but the Timberwolves have the talent to be a playing team, like with Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah,
but I don't call the Timberwolves a dysfunctional organization.
Yeah, it's another one the Lakers have to get. Yeah,
and then they play the Bulls. Is that going to be easy for the Lakers? They probably will lose that game.
Yeah, unless they still have a lot of COVID cases with the Bulls.
Yeah, and for the Lakers, no Dwight Howard, no Malik Monk, no THT. How concerning is that for the Lakers? Because they're going to be thin on their bench tonight.
It's concerning, but they can still win.
Don't underestimate Luka Doncic or Kristaps Porzingis. I like how Jason Kidd is going to run Dallas. So I think it's going to be a really, really good game here. We'll see. So, anyways, now with that being said, talk about some hockey here. So the LA Kings, however, they lost in overtime to the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion, Tampa Bay Lightning. What are your takeaways from that game?
Well, I mean, the better team won. I mean, the Lightning are pretty darn good. So, Kings got to learn from it and move forward. I
mean, the Kings been a streaky team this year. They've had good stretches. They've had not so good stretches. So your Detroit Red Wings, however, they beat the New York Islanders 2-1. How impressed are you by this Red Wings team so far?
Yeah, really good. They're off to a good start, and they're a wild card team right now in the playoffs. And they just have good young players with Moritz Seider and Lucas Raymond, and they're a really good team. I think they're young and they're going to be inconsistent.
Is their rebuild over?
They're still rebuilding. We'll see how they finish the season, but yeah, it's next year. I mean, maybe they'll have a couple other draft picks coming up. Maybe they'll even make a couple of free agent signings and get the team start getting in position for some playoff runs.
Also, what are your thoughts on the Canucks hiring Bruce Boudreau as the head coach of the Canucks, and then the Philadelphia Flyers firing Alan Vagnol?
Yeah, I think that it's both are warranted.
The Canucks are 13-15-2. They've been inconsistent all year. The Flyers are a team that's supposed to be really, really good, but they're not off to a good start. They've had a really tough start to the season. They've had a lot of challenges, but I think with the head coaching changes for both teams, it could very well benefit those teams to make a run. If you look at both the Flyers and the Vancouver Canucks. So, The Kings, however, take on the Florida Panthers, and the Panthers, to me, they've been playing really good hockey since firing Joel Quenneville. Does this tell you something that the Panthers did not even take a step back since the firing of Joel Quenneville and all that stuff that was going on off the ice?
Yeah, they're humming along there. They host the Kings on Thursday.
I think the Kings will lose that game. I think the Kings, this road trip for them is going to be really hard because you got Carolina this Saturday. That's not going to be easy. You have the Caps. That's not going to be easy. They're going to be home against Edmonton on Wednesday on TNT. Looking forward to that. And then they play in Vegas next Thursday too. So basically, the Kings schedule this month is not easy, with the exception of Arizona, who is so bad right now.
Yeah.
So you think that the Kings a playoff team to you?
No.
Or you think they need one more year? But you know that they're kind of a streaky team this year.
Yeah, I think they need one more year.
Yeah, let's talk a little baseball here. I mean, there was not much to talk about. I mean, let's talk about the Mets right now. So they're going to be speaking to Buck Showalter this week, and you would expect the Mets to hire Buck Showalter because Steve Cohen, to me, wants a big name.
Yeah, they'll probably hire Buck Showalter.
Yeah, he has a really good relationship with Billy Epler. I think Billy Epler has done a good job going forward and making the Mets a really good team, building around Jacob deGrom. The Mets, to me, I think after the lockout, see more moves from them.
Yeah, we might.
What about your Tigers? So after the lockout, do you think you get Carlos Correa? Could you move Jonathan Scope to first base, or you're going to be content with Javi Baez playing shortstop?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think they'll be content with Javi Baez, but we'll see. Yeah, we'll see after the lockout what they want to do.
How good do you think the Tigers will be in 2022? It's never too early to kind of speculate how good of a team they're going to be in 2022. How good do you think this team is, and are they ready to challenge the Chicago White Sox in the American League West with all the moves they made before the lockout?
Yeah, I think they might even get into the playoffs as a wild card next year.
You mean with the expanded playoffs? Absolutely. AJ Hinch, they were supposed to be bad. AJ Hinch was going to have one bad season and then the rest would be good. The Tigers weren't that bad this past season, though.
Yeah.
And you think AJ Hinch is going to – do you think AJ Hinch is right for the Tigers right now and into the future? As long as you guys don't steal signs, though.
Yeah, I think so.
I really like AJ Hinch in Detroit. I think the turmoil that he's been through in Houston was kind of unfortunate with the sign stealing scandal. I think he's now found a home to actually be a manager somewhere, and he knows the organization well with Detroit. I think that the Detroit Tigers should be making some more moves after the lockout and before spring training.
Yeah.
And for the Dodgers. So here's some Dodgers way too early questions. So, I mean, now that Corey Seager's gone, do you expect Trey Turner at short? Do you expect Gavin Lux at second base? Do you expect Clayton Kershaw and Kenley Jansen to be back as well?
Yeah, they might bring them all back, I think.
There's a lot of rumors about the Dodgers getting Freddie Freeman. Do you think the Dodgers should get Freddie Freeman? I don't think he leaves the Braves. Like, there's reports that he's not happy with the Braves offer. I'm like, look, the Braves are going to keep Freddie Freeman. He's not leaving the Braves. It would be foolish.
Right.
Do you think Freddie Freeman stays in Atlanta?
I think so.
Yeah, it would be stupid to see him in another uniform. I just think that his heart's in Atlanta. The Braves country loves Freddie. I think the Braves, it's going to be hard for them to kind of follow up what they did to make the World Series, but they'll take a little bit of a step back. Do you think the Braves will still be a good baseball team heading into 2022 and potentially win the NL East?
Yeah, I think they will.
Can they be better from that record? Because they're going to get Ronald Acuna back.
Yeah,
and you're talking about the Braves getting Ozuna back. they're going to probably keep they're going to keep Duvall, start him in right field. I think Jock Peterson will probably be going elsewhere. I kind of predicted this. Do you think he goes to the San Francisco Giants with your former Tiger, Nick Castellanos? They need to kind of fix that middle of the lineup.
You think he'll be there?
Jock Peterson's from the Bay Area, and I think he would have an opportunity to play every day in left field. And I think that's a good place for him. He's from that area. I would like to see him in the NL West again, just selfishly enough. I want to see him play against my Dodgers more often, just to be biased here.
Yeah, that'd be all right. I could see him doing that.
And do you think Castellanos would be a good fit for the Giants, knowing that he was on your Tigers before?
Yeah, I think he would.
He would fit that ballpark, though. But will Correa stay with the Astros? Now that I think his value is going down.
I think he's going to go somewhere else.
Why? I mean, who needs a shortstop right now?
Tigers might go for him and might switch around their
because Javi Baez is very versatile. He can always move to sixth base. He could always move Jonathan Scope to first base. I could see that because Carlos Correa loves AJ Hinch.
Yep.
And would you want to see Correa reunite with Hinch?
Yeah, I would like to see that. Yeah.
That could happen here. So also talk about some college football here. What's your thoughts on Bryce Young winning the Heisman Trophy?
He was a clear favorite. Yeah, no surprise there.
What about the potential number one pick? Do you think that Aiden Hutchinson from your enemy, Michigan Wolverine, will be on your Detroit Lions? I think he should.
Yeah, I think they could definitely go in that direction.
If you look at mock drafts and all that, your Lions are going to have the number one pick most likely. I don't think they're going to get a quarterback. They'll probably get a quarterback later in the first round. What if they get Aiden Hutchinson and then they get Sam Howell?
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Would Sam Howell solve the Lions' quarterback issues?
He might help. Yeah, I mean anyone.
Would he start right away, or do you think he has to sit behind Goff if the Lions go quarterback here in the first round?
Goff for a little bit, yeah.
What about Dan Lanning as the head coach at Oregon?
Yeah, that kind of like a desperate move, I think. But because
could have Oregon could have gone with Chip Kelly?
Yeah, that would have been like a smarter move, but like Chip Kelly, he's not that good of a recruiter, and I think his offensive scheme is a bit tiring. So I think people have figured it out largely. Chip
Kelly's offense is more spread and is more hurry up. That's Chip Kelly. And I think he's going to do a good job at UCLA. I like him as a coach, but you don't think he's a good recruiter?
No.
Who do you think is going to be a better recruiter next year in the Pac-12? Chip Kelly or Lincoln Riley?
Yeah, I think it's going to be I think it'll be Lincoln Riley.
Watch out for USC next year. Do you think USC wins the Pac-12 South next year?
I think it's possible. I still think maybe Utah will do it, but
or what about Arizona State with Herm Edwards?
I think they did that out of desperation too. They don't really have a candidate lined up.
I think USC is going to be so much better with Lincoln Riley. So, anyways, Matt, we're going to talk next week. We'll talk about week 16 and then also lead up to week 18. So I'll see you next week, Matt.
Next week will be our Christmas special.
Yes, it will be.
Okay.